Hello. I'm Vlad, and salut. The most important thing right now for me is for you to copy-paste that link over there that starts with HSAI in your browsers, because referendums today in Romania are a big thing. So we'll do some referendums in the next half an hour. Don't boycott that one. That's very important. And just copy-paste it, and we will just wait. You'll be able to vote using your mobile phone. You'll be able to see the photos or the slide on that on your mobile phone. So just copy-paste this. And just to set things clear from the beginning, you know, if the power of storytelling would have a Grinch, I am that Grinch. So I'm the Grinch of the power of storytelling. Why is that? Because I was thinking, I didn't came here to inspire you. I'm not here to tell you a beautiful story or a good story. For all of this, you have all these marvelous, I mean, like fabulous journalists and speakers today and tomorrow. I am here just trying to challenge you in the same way I was challenged, and try to convince you to ask some questions together. There are some questions that are haunting me in the last years, and you'll see that they are related even with the talks and the stories that you just listened today. I have questions about truth, and I have questions for you about trust, and I have questions for you about the power of storytelling, about the bright side of the power of storytelling, and about the dark side of the power of storytelling. I am here to talk to you about truth and trust. You know, I always wanted to do something like that in front of you. Talking about truth and trust. These are strong words, very important words. But before that, I would ask you to vote. We can't vote, but this is me in my first year in high school. And the question would be, what do you think was the lowest semester average grade that this boy received while he was in high school? It's about me. Sorry? 7. 4, 6, 9. 5. Less, more, yeah. Anyway, let's say who raise up your hand who thinks that the average is above 7. Yeah, more than 7. Okay, and under, I mean lower, it's almost like half. So the real average that I got, the right answer, is in fact 3. Okay, it's surprising, huh? So when I got that 3 in physics, it was in physics, I went home, and my mom asked me, "Aren't you ashamed?" Of course, I just answered her, "No, I'm not ashamed." You know, many kids, they had like 9s or 10s. Do you know anyone with a 3? No, I'm an outlier, you know. This 3 doesn't tell anything about me. Of course, that number 3 tells about me that I don't like numbers, or I was at least bad with numbers during that semester. And that number 3 maybe tells that I don't like physics, or maybe, but no, this is not true. Because in that semester, I was so much in love with a blonde girl, and she was very good in physics, and she was very good with numbers. And during that whole semester, I mean, the teacher, she wasn't able to capture my attention. But this story is not told by that 3 number. But in the same time, that number influenced my life a lot in the next spring, because my mother locked me in a study room for like 3 months in order to study and to get back to the track, which was, in fact, a good strategy for her. But if you think a bit, all our lives are pretty dominated by numbers. Just think about the number that you've got when you had to take an exam to enter university, and just think about, maybe for many of you, for me as a medical doctor, the number that we have on our diploma, degree diploma. It's a very important number. And just think about, I don't know, if you forgot the number, the mobile phone number of your wife or your husband, this could be a problem, a huge problem. But also, talking seriously, numbers are also very important in health. The size of your liver, which is expressed in numbers, puts you on a fast track for a cure or not. And it's only a number, okay? This dominance of numbers on our life is pretty an exception in our history. This never happened before at least not before the 20th century. So I asked myself, why is this? Why our lives are so dominated by numbers? And maybe it's because it just helps us to rank and order this beautiful complexity, many times chaotical one, which is life. Isn't it? They are really helpful. Numbers are helpful for us when ranking, trying to think and organize our lives, and so on and so forth. But there is only one slight problem. This true miracle is a miraculous machine, which is our brain. But in the same time, this is a very imperfect machine. And many of us, we are not aware of that. It's wired in such a way that doesn't get numbers in a natural way. And when I started to discover this, I was working as a journalist, as a health journalist. I was going to many public debates, talking to TV, and going into many arguments with different kind of people on vaccines, on cancer, about private insurance versus private health insurance versus public health insurance, and so on. And my ultimate argument, you know, it was that particular moment when I didn't have any argument, and that was puff. I took the number out of my pocket. I took the statistical data out of my pocket. I just took the populational studies result out of my pocket. And that was the ultimate argument. It was strong. And in fact, I was flabbergasted when people didn't react to that, because it was so evidence-based. That was the truth. Were solid facts. So let's look at some facts. Here you see, if you are just trying to find Romania on the map, this is the map of vaccine coverage in the world, okay? In green, of course, is the better, in red is the worst. For 2001 till 2013, you can see Romania, not only Romania, but also the countries around it, Ukraine and Moldavia, turn from strong green to light pink. And in fact, Romania, according to this study, which was recently published, Romania is the country with the most abrupt decrease of vaccine coverage in the whole world. So we are an outlier. And the immediate consequence was, of course, many of you are aware with the measles epidemic in Romania, which is the biggest in Europe and was the biggest in Europe in the last 2 years. But there is also another problem. If you're looking here, so Romania is here on the blue lines. We are the only country where the biggest part of those who get measles are children under 14 years old. And unfortunately, we also have 59 deaths because of that. It's a disease which is totally preventable, and all of them are kids. So I start to write about that a lot. Probably some of you know that. I was like going out all the time writing tons of texts and articles about that. And because of that, of course, the anti-vaxxer movement labeled me in many ways. I was working for Soros. I was paid millions by the industry, by the pharma industry, which I would like, but this is not happening. I was even shouted across the room in the Romanian parliament during a debate that, Mr. Mixich, you are a big supporter of medical dictatorship. Okay. But, you know, the thing is that I start to question myself, because it was a particular moment, and I will tell you immediately about it, when something changed. It was a trigger in my mind, because before that moment, I was like, you know, I don't care what you're calling me. I'm doing my duty. I'm just bringing data and facts in front of the people, and it is for you to decide. It's not my job, it's not my duty to decide. I'm just giving you the real facts, the most solid, strongest facts. And one day, I received a message from a mother, which I didn't know, and I don't know yet. And this was a very interesting message, because it was very polite compared with the other ones. It was moderate, no conspiracy theories, and I want to read you this message. So it says like that. Dear Vlad, I didn't vaccinate my kid with MMR. I did research on vaccines problems for months, and this research entitles me to make a decision about my child more than what the family doctor tells me, because he only gathered his information from courses in the medical school with no other additional research. So I reached the conclusion that every parent must listen to her intuition, and what that intuition says is the best decision for the child. So I ask myself, how come an educated, decent, polite, very nice mother can think that several months or years of Googling on internet on vaccine had the same weight with 6 years of medical school, 4 years of residency, and so on and so forth, you know, the superiority complex of a medical doctor? And it didn't make any kind of sense to me. And usually when something didn't make any sense to me, it's probably because of me. I'm the wrong one. Something is missing me. I miss something. So I just try to find out what is happening. Why that fear? Where is this fear coming from? And before of that, going into that area, this would have been a very nice referendum. Who knows more about you than anyone else? Your mother, your lover, your priest, Google, Facebook, or your best friend. So let's try. Your mother, raise your hands. Oh, okay. Poor mothers. Your lover. Okay, this would be a good session for a family therapist. Your priest. None. Google, Facebook. Okay, that's good. And your best friend. So Google, Facebook, and your best friend. So you know, that's interesting because half of the most frequent questions that Romanian ask in Romanian on Google, those kind of questions with what is, half of them are about, half of the most popular, are about medical issues, are about health topics. And you know, health is important for us, isn't it? But still, almost all of us, we are asking Google questions about our health. There is this study made by Pew Research Center, and it says that 3/4 of us search online medical information at least once in the last year. So I was thinking that we can contradict those researchers at Pew Center. So did you search online for medical information at least once in the year? Yeah, everyone. Yeah, I know that. Yeah. Well, so I should write them an email or something. So many of us, we are searching for truthful medical information about our health online. We are searching truth about one of the most important aspects in our life, health, online. So there is something there. Is truth related in a way to the source of where this truth is coming from? You know, probably this question, what is truth, is one of the oldest questions in the history. So I start to read, trying to see what other people smarter than me tell about the definition of truth today. And Harari, he just wrote that. Truth is defined by the top results of a Google search in today's world. And Kissinger just wrote that truth, a few months ago, truth becomes relative in the digital era. Information threatens to overwhelm wisdom. And Alan Rusbridger, he was for 2 decades editor-in-chief of The Guardian, he admits that fake news and falsity was a constant presence in the humankind history. What happened in the last years is that now fake news are happening on a fantastic scale. Why? Because our best friend, which is Google or Facebook. So there is this pervasive illusion which our brain is a victim of this illusion. And it's not an optical illusion. It's not an insignificant illusion. It is called truth illusion. And it was first described by Paul Slovic, and afterwards it was, of course, Daniel Kahneman went into much more detail. So what is this truth illusion? Says that facts are not of prime importance because the context and the package matters more. So if something, which doesn't have to be true, something feels familiar, effortless, if it is repeated enough times, if the display is clear, that's enough. That's just the truth. This is the essential detail that all of us must remember about our brain. That truth is not involved at all there. Our brain doesn't have any direct natural relation with what we call truth. Our brain doesn't take truth for granted. It doesn't matter if a story is true or not, as long as it follows some logic and it's powerful, it will be considered to be true. So the next question that I want to ask is, why that mother would trust Google or Facebook more than a medical doctor, which is flesh and bones? Well, the answer comes from another research project, Vaccine Confidence Project. And these people in London, they managed to draw a very clear map of how trust works in the medical healthcare field. So you see, trust in vaccines or in pharmaceuticals or in any treatment is related to provider trust. How much do we trust our medical system and our medical doctors? And probably you know that Romania is the lowest on this category. Romanians, they don't trust their healthcare system according to European Health Consumer Index from the last 4 years. And of course, how many of us have trust in our political system? But if we are looking outside this trust triangle, where things are not looking good, the things are even worse. Historic trust, distrust, this is debatable, let's not talk about that. But generalized distrust in Romania, it's huge. This is a very recent graphic that I saw. It's the percentage of people who said people can be trusted in Romania. It's huge. Romania basically experienced one of the biggest decline in trust among us. So in this kind of environment, this triangle, it's broken here, at least in Romania, but probably also in countries around us. So looking at all that, suddenly I realized that the answer to my questions was not so simple as those ignorance. They don't have medical studies. Those ignorance parents. No, this was a huge mistake. It's way more complex than that. So let's do another referendum. Which do you think is a more frequent cause of death in Romania between these two? Suicides or diabetes? So, diabetes. Raise hands for suicides. Raise, yeah, no one. You are too educated. Yeah, it's true. Diabetes kills more people than suicides in Romania, but in the same time, usually if you are having like general referendums, the answers are not so clear. And also, which do you think is a more frequent cause of death in Romania between asthma and drug overdose? And of course, asthma, because we are talking about Kahneman. But again, if you are looking at polls, like the big majority will say the drug overdose. And homicides, crimes, and ulcer, again in Romania. Ulcer is killing way more Romanians than crimes. And this is true even for Alzheimer and traffic car accidents. Traffic car accidents are a big topic in the Romanian media. All of us are very aware of that. And because of that, people generally think that Alzheimer is not such a big deal, while traffic, because of car accidents, it's a huge deal. So this kind of relation that we have with data that would make, not you here, but would make people answering polls said that car accidents are more frequent killer than Alzheimer. This is called availability bias, and this is very, very common. And Kahneman also had this very nice sentence describing it. It basically says that our estimates of causes of death are distorted by media coverage, and our brain, that's because our brain doesn't assess risks according to big data and statistic, but it assesses risks and takes decision influenced by how often we are exposed to several messages, how emotional we are in that particular moment, what are our mental shortcuts, and so on and so forth. So basically what's happening in our real life, daily life, is that the emotional tail wags our rational persona. We are not at all that rational decision makers that we would like to be called. And well, this is not, maybe this can be a problem from an individual level point of view, but at a systematic level, this is a huge problem. And I will show you why. Let's do another exercise. Imagine that you are a decision maker, and if you would have enough money to buy treatment for only one patient, whom would you give priority? And you have only 2 patients. This kind of dilemma is pretty common in the field of policy and health policy. Would you give it to Adrian or to Victor? And what you know about them is that Adrian is 67, Victor 52, and Adrian will gain 5 years of life if he will receive the treatment, and Victor 10. Let's add another info. Adrian, with no treatment, will die in 1 year, while Victor in 14. So, whom would you give the treatment? Adrian? Not so many. Okay, Victor? And there are many of you who are not able to decide. Okay. Let's add another info, 2 pieces of infos. So Adrian, he never used public health system, while Victor, he's already using public health systems since 15 years ago. But in the same time, Adrian didn't live healthy, while Victor did. So, Adrian? Anyone for Adrian? 1, 2. Okay. And Victor? Still many of you are undecided. It still is like balance, I can tell you. So, let's go forward. Yeah, Adrian has children. So, let's change the question. How many of you would right now change their minds and give the treatment to Adrian? Okay, there's some of you. And Adrian is poor, but Victor is a member of the rich family. Well, still anyone with Victor? Still anyone supports Victor? Whoa, it's like 4, 5, 6, 7, 9, 10. Yeah. So the thing is that when you are not taking decisions at an individual level, when you are deciding, when you have to decide for many people, it's impossible to make an emotional decision. It's not possible. Because look, we are just stuck here. This problem is not so complex. We have only 2 people, some infos, but still the biggest part of you weren't able, or at least you didn't raise your hands. This is this is really bad, in fact. It's bad to use your emotional part of the brain when you have to take these kind of decisions. But in the same time, there are some political people, usually populist politicians, who are saying that when we have to take as a society this kind of important decision, we must talk to the people. We should look to the people. Power to the people. They are the ultimate decision maker. So what the people are saying when they are asked about whom to give priority on health issues. This is a study of many polls, and when you are asking people whom to give priority, they would answer married versus unmarried. You should give priority on health issues to drivers versus CEOs, to poor people, to non-smokers, and to those who are living a healthy life. But if you are rich or criminal, it's bad for you. No one would like you. And if you are gay or alcoholic, or if you are eating hamburgers, it's bad. It's very bad. No one would like you. So we can't go there. We can't ask questions, these kind of questions to the people, because usually when we are taking these kind of decisions, we are using our emotional part of the brain. So what the researcher and scientists did, they invented a subjective as possible mechanism. It's like a very scientific method in order to be able to make light between different kind of truths. Probably, this is called evidence-based medicine, but probably one of the most widely used tool is this very simple pyramid. It's called Oxford Evidence-Based Medicine Pyramid. And on the peak of the pyramid, those are the most objective quality data. That's the most superior truth, if I may say so. You have systematic reviews, randomized controlled trials, and here on the basis, we have background information and expert opinion. Just think how many times you are using information from here to have an opinion about an important topic. We have many times experts going on TV and molding our opinion on important topics. We are using textbooks or Googling for doing that. And of course, parents who are deciding about vaccinating their children or not, they are using infos, truths, which are coming from here, not from over there. Okay, but this situation, it's like a double-level discourse, because we have this method, scientific method, to make decisions, but in the same time, in our daily life, we don't use it. And this is normal. It's like the human nature. But in the same time, medical doctors and public health professionals and health policy people, they are expecting from all of you to act as rational human beings, as like the Homo economicus, which is always making rational choices, trying to maximize his or her utility. But this, in reality, it's not working. But in fact, it's very pervasive. You know, in medicine, and probably you heard about that, we are all the time talking about patient empowerment, you know? You know what's that? That patient has the power in the medical system. They have to take the ultimate decision. They have to fill in consent-informed papers, and they have to take decision about their healthy diet, how they live. They are responsible if they are smoking or not. You know, they have the power. But this sounds nice. It's marvelous. It's beautiful. You know, power to the patient. It's only one slight problem. This, our brain, which is imperfect, and just truth doesn't come naturally to our brain. It doesn't have any direct natural relation with truth. Facts or evidence, numbers, statistical power, they don't stick to our brain. Stories, even if they are not true, yes, they stick there. They influence our lives. And right now I can show you this. It's a very famous study made in Denmark. It included more than 500,000 kids, followed for 10 years. And 0.06% of diagnosis of autism in that more than 500,000 group, in the vaccinated group, so 0.06 were diagnosed with autism, and in the not vaccinated group, 0.05%. So that study provides very strong evidence against the hypothesis that MMR is causing autism. But in the same time, even if I showed you this data, I want to read you something, which is a letter. It's a letter wrote by my friend, Ramona, about her son, Mishu. And Mishu is also my godson. And I have, of course, the agreement to read it here in front of you. And I read it in Romanian, but you'll be able to follow in English some excerpts of the letter. So what Ramona was writing in that letter. Sunt tristă zilele astea. Sunt tristă pentru că toată lumea cunoaște cazuri cu copii autiști de la vaccinuri sau rămași cu sechele de la vaccinuri. Dacă mă uit cu atenție în jur, eu nu cunosc niciun caz. Copiii mei, 2 băieți, nu au avut nicio reacție adversă la vaccinuri. Da, Mișu, cel mai mic, a fost diagnosticat la 2 ani cu autism. Nu apucasem să-i fac vaccinul ROR pentru că a luat bol de la fratele mai mare care mergea deja la grădiniță. La 2 luni după diagnostic l-am vaccinat. Și Mișu nu e autist pentru că l-am vaccinat sau nu. Autismul nu are legătură cu vaccinarea. Cauzele autismului sunt complexe. Nu sunt medic, dar a trebuit să învăț câte ceva despre cauze și manifestări pentru a-mi înțelege copilul mai bine. Lumea mea se dărâmase pentru că nu mai înțelegeam nimic din cum se crește un copil, deși mai am unul. Imaginează-ți că încerci să vorbești cu copilul tău de 2 ani și el refuză cu încăpățânare să se uite la tine. Imaginează-ți că vrei să-l auzi cum zice mama, dar nu scoate decât un A după 3 ani în care ai repetat cu el acest cuvânt de N ori. Imaginează-ți că nu-l interesează jocurile tale, că nu-l poți ține 1 minut să se uite pe o carte, că nu îți zâmbește direct, că repezi de sute și mii de ori aceeași rugăminte cu el și el tot nu răspunde. Imaginează-ți că puiul tău nu face niciodată cu mâna să spună pa și că nu vine să te pupe sau să-l drăgălești. Ce ai face cu el și ce ai face cu tine? Și am tot citit ce scriu oamenii despre autism și vaccinuri și plâng. Plâng și de frustrare. Plâng pentru că oamenii aceștia nu înțeleg ce este autismul, nu înțeleg cauzele lui, care sunt complexe. Nu există un buton pe care dacă apeși, ai copil autist sau un vaccin care îl face autist și gata. Ar trebui ca al meu copil să nu fie autist în acest caz, pentru că nu era vaccinat în momentul diagnosticului. Și cu ce îl ajută pe copilul meu dacă îi atribui o cauză greșită felului său de a fi? A accepta vaccinarea ca o cauză a autismului și a nu încerca să înțelege adevăratele cauze e ceva de neconceput pentru mine. Cum aș mai putea să ajung la el? Autismul e un cumul de factori genetici, neurologici și de mediu și numai acceptând aceste cauze și explicații am ajuns să înțeleg. Să înțeleg nu doar mai multe despre autism, ci să-mi înțeleg propriul copil. Și așa am reușit să-l fac să râdă și când mă vede pe mine. Soțul meu mi-a spus că scriu degeaba scrisoarea asta. Că povestea mea nu va schimba cu nimic opinia oamenilor dacă ei cred că vaccinurile duc la autism. Eu sper că măcar câteva persoane care citesc această poveste să nu mai creadă fără dovezi reale, să întrebe mai mulți medici și să nu nege medicina așa cum s-a constituit ea pe baza cercetărilor științifice. Asta sper eu. What is truth? This is a very old question. Pilate asked Jesus more than 2000 years ago and would not stay for an answer. And for me, this is the most interesting part of this sentence. He would not stay for an answer. He would not stay. Maybe to answer this question, what is truth, requires lots of effort and work, because this doesn't come naturally to us, and requires going out of our comfort zone and even sacrifice and sometimes pain, because truth is not like destiny, it's not unavoidable, and today more than any other time in history, truth is a choice, it's a search, and it's a hard search for all of us. And you can stay on the bright side of it, or you can stay on the dark side of it. Because stories are powerful tools regardless of their truthfulness. And you know, truth doesn't have that romantic intrinsic power, and it will not come out at light in the end, not just by itself. It will not. And I know that we would love, all of us, to believe that truth just came out by itself. And I know that this would be very inspiring for us. But I told you in the beginning that I am not here to inspire you, because there is this one slight problem. The brain, our brain. Beautiful, miraculous, but imperfect.